Hello and welcome. If you're new to this channel, my name's Emily and this is a yin yoga practice using the bolster. If you don't have a bolster at home, you can use a couple of just pillows, long cushions stacked on top of each other, and that should work just as well. You won't need anything else for this practice. If you like to cover yourself with a blanket in Shavasana, we are going to practice that at the end, so you're welcome to grab a blanket. But otherwise, just the bolster is fine. So we'll come straight into our first yin yoga posture. If you bring your bolster along the back of your mat lengthways, we're going to come to a reclined butterfly. So come to sit just in front of your bolster with it close to your lower back in the centre of the mat. And with a bend in the knees, gently lower yourself down onto the bolster so that it's along the length of your spine. Your head is able to comfortably rest on the bolster as well. You might need to shuffle your bum a little bit closer or a little bit further away from the bolster to find a place that's comfortable for the lower back. And bring your arms to rest by your sides. Let the palms face up so the backs of the hands can just rest comfortably on the ground. Then bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees drop open into butterfly pose. Closing the eyes and beginning to settle in for our yin practice together. And of course, if your hips start to get a little tired here, at any point you can bring the knees back together. You're always welcome to come out of any pose that doesn't feel good or safe in your body. Relax the muscles around your eyes, relax your forehead. Feel your jaw loosening as you separate the top and bottom rows of teeth just slightly. Feel your shoulders sinking down either side of the bolster. Your arms resting. Feel your back supported by the bolster. The hips gently opening and the soles of the feet together. Bring your attention to your breathing now, just watching your breath as it comes in and as it goes out. With yin yoga, the invitation is to be still and to soften into each posture. But you can of course move around, make adjustments whenever you feel you need to. So if something becomes uncomfortable or if you start to experience any kind of pain, discomfort, then change the position you're in and find somewhere that feels safe, somewhere that you're able to rest. I'm going to stay here just a little bit longer. If you feel that your hips are quite tired now, if you still have the knees open, you're welcome to bring the knees back together for the last minute or so in this reclined butterfly pose. So you can always bring the knees together, maybe step the feet a little bit wider on the mat and let the knees drop in towards each other. Let's take 3 final breaths here. And then when you're ready to move, just start by wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes. Bringing some awareness back to your body. And then very gently we'll start to lift back up. So tuck your chin towards your chest. Bring your palms to the ground. Press into the hands to help you as you come back up to sit. Just taking a moment to sit nice and tall with the spine long and straight. Relaxing the shoulders, noticing how you feel. Now the next posture we're coming into, I'll give you 2 different options as to how to use your bolster. So first option is to leave it where it is, so leaving it lengthways along the mat. We're going into a side body stretch. So let me give myself a little bit more space here. So we'll come to sit on the right hip, so the bolster is out to your side. So swinging the legs around with the bolster on your right side. Then slide your right arm along the bolster so you can then come to lay like this on top of it. So laying on your side onto the bolster. And then we straighten out the left leg. So keep a little bend in the right knee, but straighten out the left leg. So this is the first option, and then we can try taking the other arm, the left arm, up and over to rest on top. So we're going to feel a stretch along the left side of the body and into the left shoulder. So I'd recommend trying this version first. See how it feels. Take a few breaths there. If that feels quite intense, if it feels like it's at the limit of what you're comfortable doing, try and stay with this shape. We're going to be here for a couple of minutes. If you feel that there's a little further you could go, that you could maybe go a little deeper into a side stretch, then you can try coming back up and turning the bolster around the other way. So this time we'd be leaning over the bolster, with the bolster kind of around the middle section of the body, just below the rib cage. And we then do the same thing. So we slide the right arm out, but you can see that my head is now coming much further over, so there's a deeper stretch along the left side. And then I can reach my arm over this way. So you might try this and see how it feels. And if it's a little bit too intense, if there's any pinching in the back, if it feels like you're overdoing it, then come back to where you were before, turning the bolster back around. So it's 2 different options, and it will take a little bit of trial and error to find which one suits your body best today. Make any little adjustments you need to make to find a version of this that feels safe in your body and that feels fairly comfortable. So that left arm can be reaching up and over, resting on top of the head, with the hands resting one on top of the other. If that gets a little too intense at any point, you can bring that arm back down to rest. And see how you want the legs to be here as well. So you can have a bend in both knees, that's going to make it a little bit more gentle. Or you can straighten out the left leg a bit more and feel that stretch along the left side of the body. Remember, you're always welcome to come out of poses anytime. But as long as you feel safe here, see if you can soften into this shape and bring your awareness and your attention back to your breathing. Let's take 3 final breaths here. When you're ready to come out, moving slowly, no rush, bring the upper arm back down to rest. And you can just roll onto your front a little bit so you've got a bit of space to bring that right hand in, pushing into the palm, coming all the way up to sit. And just come through to a neutral seated position again so you can bring your spine upright and straight. Pause there, close your eyes, relax your shoulders and notice what you feel. Okay, now we're going to take that same posture on the other side. So turning to the left, and again I'd recommend starting out with the bolster lengthways on the mat. Trying this version first, be aware that it might feel quite different on this side. So sliding the arm out, having a little shuffle and getting yourself settled there. Maybe extending the right leg slightly, so just straightening that leg out and then taking the right arm up and over. Again, have a little shuffle around, see how it feels on this side, take a couple of breaths. And if you feel that that's where you'd like to stay, then stay there and rest. If you feel that there's a little further that you want to go, you can turn the bolster around and try this second version. So again, we slide the arm out, bringing the head down to rest on the arm, shuffling so that the bolster is under a comfortable part of the body. Maybe straightening out the right leg slightly and then bringing the arm over. Take your time, shuffle around, make adjustments, make it work for your body. We never want to settle for a pose that actually is causing us pain. Sometimes we worry about doing it right and we'll pause and try and relax in a posture that's actually quite painful. So if that's the case for you here, come out of the pose, try coming back into it in a slightly different way, maybe adjusting the position of the bolster. See if you can find a version that's more comfortable. Now let's take 3 final breaths here. When you're ready to come out, again go slowly, no rush. Bring the right arm back down to rest. Start to roll gently onto your front on the bolster so you can then use your left hand to help you as you lift back up. Coming around to sit, again with the back straight. Take a moment to pause and tune into your body, noticing any sensations, anything that comes up. Okay, so the next place we're going with the bolster, we're going to have it this way round on the mat. And we're coming into a supported bridge pose. So the bolster is going to be just under the lower back, under the bum, supporting you there. Now the way that I like to come into this is to sit towards the end of my mat, bring the bolster in towards my lower back, and just roll back onto it like this. So rolling over the bolster, maybe lifting my hips and just shuffling it a little bit further back so it's under the bum, under the lower back, supporting me there. If coming into it that way doesn't work for you, then you can just come to lay on your back, lift your hips up and tuck the bolster underneath you. So we want to feel that the spine is nice and long. So if you feel that your lower back is kind of arching and a bit compressed here, shuffle your shoulder blades up towards the top of the mat a little bit more. Let your lower back lengthen out. And bring your arms to rest down by your sides with the palms facing up. Another option, if you'd like a little bit more of an opening around the shoulders, is to reach the arms up overhead and rest them on the ground there with the palms facing up that way. Have a little space between the feet and bring the feet to a place where they're comfortable. We don't want too much effort through the legs here, so try and let your weight drop down into the bolster so the legs are fairly effortless. Shoulders are resting onto the mat, and there's a softness through the muscles of the face. Notice where your thoughts are today. Are you finding it easy to stay present, to stay connected to what your body's doing? Or is your mind drifting in and out of thought? And if so, what are the thoughts that keep repeating? What's on your mind today? The practice of yoga invites us to observe the patterns of the mind, but to do that sort of from a distance. So rather than being so involved in the thoughts that pop up, we're able to step back and just watch those thoughts floating in and floating out again. We take note of them, but then we let them move on. We can use the breath as our anchor, as something to return our focus to if the mind is quite busy and distracted today. So once you notice that your mind has gone to something else, just take note of what that thought was, step back from it, and bring your attention kindly and gently back to your breath. we'll take a variation on this supported bridge pose. So we're going to bring the right knee in towards the chest and use your hands to bring that knee towards you. And you can try straightening out your left leg and just allowing it to rest. So taking the stretch a little bit more into the hips, particularly into the front of the left hip, the hip flexor. Try and find a comfy version of this. Make adjustments as you need. And then be still and come back to the breath. Now we'll take 3 final breaths on this side. And then when you're ready to move, just take a bend into that left knee again. Bring the sole of the left foot back onto the mat. Let go of the right knee and let the right foot come to the mat as well. So the soles of the feet are on the mat, about hip distance apart. And we'll take that to the other side. So bring the left knee towards the chest. Use your hands to guide that knee in. Make any adjustments you need to make. And then maybe you straighten out the right leg and let that foot rest onto the ground there. Noticing any difference on this side. Maybe it feels easier. Maybe it feels a little bit less mobile, less flexible. Always noticing these things with kindness and no judgment. Just observing the body in the same way that we observe our thoughts, so that we can learn and understand more about our bodies and our minds, so we can feel more connected to ourselves. Now let's take 3 final breaths here. body. You can gently release that left leg. Maybe try straightening both legs out now and reaching the arms up overhead so your body is in a straight line, taking a big stretch through the arms and the legs. And then bending the knees, bring the soles of the feet to the ground again. You can try bringing both knees now in towards the chest. So hugging the knees in, with the hips still lifted and supported by the bolster. If that feels nice for you, you're going to stay here for a minute or so. If you're not feeling good here or you want to come out of this shape, you can move on to Shavasana, which is where we're going next. So you lift the hips off the bolster and roll the bolster down away from you, so you can then rest your legs onto it. So if you're comfortable with the knees tucked in towards the chest, stay there a little bit longer. There's no rush to move on, but whenever you are ready, you can just roll that bolster down the mat so that you then release your legs and allow your legs to rest with the bolster under your knees. Have a little shuffle once you get there. Find a comfortable position for Shavasana, our final resting pose. And if you have a blanket you'd like to use, you can grab that now. Cover yourself over. Make yourself as comfortable as you can be here. And now we rest. No effort through the muscles, no tension anywhere in the body. Just allowing ourselves to be completely supported by the ground, by the bolster. Feeling safe and able to let go. Now keeping your body relaxed, bring your awareness back to the space around you, becoming aware of the ground beneath you, the bolster under your legs. And start to gently move, wiggle the fingers, the toes. And take the deepest breath you've taken so far today. And when you feel ready, you can start to move and stretch, start to wake your body up again. But do take your time, and if you have a bit longer to rest, then take some more time to rest. There's no rush to get on, to get moving. Remember to give yourself some thanks, some gratitude for making time for this practice today, for taking care of your body and your mind. And I'll leave you there for today. So thank you for joining me for this practice. I hope you're feeling rested and restored. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.